Everyone, this is Dave Pat, and I'm gonna explain to you what is BetaQuest. BetaQuest is an entrance randomizer without a logic, where every loading zone are shuffled together. I'm gonna play while explaining so you can understand better what I mean by that. First of all, you have this to decide the file name. The file name is important because that's where you decide what is the seed. This seed is it's really easy in BetaQuest to share a seed together with your friend and everything because it's decided by the file name. So right now, if I send this to my friend, the file name, you both will run on the same seed. Alright, so let's start playing. So the first thing you see is I'm not starting on the link house, I'm starting in the lake. This is because the save warp is also randomized. Note that the save warp as child and save warping as adult are also considered as two different save warp. So let's go to the lake lab here. So I'm gonna enter the lake lab, and normally it's the inside of lake lab. Now it's the Sunstone grave, the composer grave actually. So I can always resave here, and it should send me again to the lake lab because I said the save warp is always the same. There you go. We're back to the lake again. Back to the lake. So once again, if I go to the lake lab, it should be again the composer grave. So and that's how BetaQuest work. Every loading zone is shuffled to get like this, and like leaving the grave is going to be something new. A fairy fountain, and then you leave again. And the goal is just to move around, explore, find what you need. Talking about goal, I'm gonna explain to you what are the goal, because BetaQuest is different in the sense that beating Ganondorf and Ganon is not super fun, because it's just a matter of finding one loading zone and finding the Master Sword. There's some good, cool players being running 90% in this, but it's like 3 minutes long, so yeah. So I'm gonna reveal my card here, my bingo card, and those are BetaQuest goals. By BetaQuest goal, I mean it's a BetaQuest card where if you go to the bingo sync, which I'm gonna link in the YouTube link at the bottom, you can find a mode for Ocarina of Time that's just made for BetaQuest. On those cards, you can play multiple kind of mode. One of the most famous mode is the lockout mode. The mode in this one is when you get the goal, example the Lens of Truth, you mark it. And what's fun about this one is you race another player, and if the other player find the lens into, you won't be able to mark it because you already have the goal, and it's the first one that get the 12 gold, I believe, or at least lock out the other player, meaning that they can't win. There's other rules, but this mode is mostly really fun. It's really entertaining to watch again, and it's really stressful to play because like anyone can get sniped the goal at like 1 second away and stuff like that. So really fun. A good mode if you want to play alone and like you're not a big like racer guy, you just want to play RTA, is the blackout mode. The goal of the blackout is to do every goal on the card, so meaning that you have to mark everything. Well, actually, it's called blackout, right? So it should be you black out everything. So yeah, this mod is really fun. It's pretty one of my favorites by myself. Most people play with Node because it's easier to track stuff and location. But it's you can get constant at it. Like I heard a lot of people like, oh, it's just randomized and like, well, yeah, sure. It's true that you're not gonna have the same time. It's not like a true RT in this sense. But getting constant, there's so many loading zones in the game. So everybody that gets really good should be able to get 4 hour a 4 hour sub mark because there's so many loading zone, right? Like, yes, sure, like it's not gonna be it's gonna be depend of the goal on the card, but yeah, it can get really crazy. We have the leaderboard, and I'm really a big fan for it. There's other cool mode you could do, like draft. The goal of the draft is you race against again another player, but this time you choose the goal you want to do. So you will want to choose the easiest goal. So like if I draft first, I'm the blue player, I'll take blue fire because this one is super easy. Then the other player will take like 5 bean and maybe I don't know. Let's see real quick. Cookie sword, super easy to do again. and you do that until like every player have all the gold, and then like this. Let's say I don't not checking right now. So we're drafting the stuff right now, and then there you go. So your goal, if you're the blue player, is to do all the blue player goal. There's also anti-draft where you draft for your opponent, so that now you want to draft the War's gold. So it's really fun. There's other stuff. There's the infamous battleship mode where you choose 3, 2, and a 4 ship, and the other one have to find where they are by doing the goal. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, and they're all pretty cool. So I won't go more explaining by that, but yeah. And you also have to factor in that you can play with your friend anytime soon. So like you could do 2-0 blackout, you can do co-op lockout. Yeah, so this is really a download mode, and we have leaderboard for this, so it's really cool. Now I'm gonna go and explain the entrance, how it work, how to explore the game, and this is really important because when I heard of in the Discord this is it's impossible or like I'm not able to finish something, most of the time it's because you didn't like explore correctly. Like impossible seat and BetaQuest are actually really hard. So even like if like there's not any logic preventing an impossible seed, it's very rare. Most of the time it's going to be because you make a exploration mistake. So I'm going to go through this and explain. It's going to be pretty interesting, I think. So the first thing you need to know is all the normal loading zone work, dying and playing Sun Song. So every loading zone are actually unique in the sense that every entrance in the game, except grottos, generic grottos, always lead to something new. So if you leave here, it's going to lead to some unique place. In this case, it's going to be the graveyard. You can do this by another way, which is pretty simple, is you can place Sun Song or die. And doing this, it's actually like in the vanilla game. If you play Sun Song in the vanilla game, it's going to be like the same entrance. So here, the graveyard again. This is one of the most important tools of exploration. It's dying. Dying allow you to test some low loading zone that's really hard to do. Example, getting Son of Time, getting Nocturne. So every time you find like the in front of the market, you probably want to die there. But there's other place you want to die. Another comparison would be like escaping towards like London range. In this case, I'm exploring and I find the towards Girdle Valley escape, and I want to die there because I don't want to Elver and have to do this or get Epona. So dying is really important for that. And it's also one of the mistakes that most newer players do. So you have to remember, if you didn't die somewhere, maybe that's one of your mistakes. Because you like trying to refine this unique loading zone might lead you to ZL or something. Now we can talk about Civ Warping. Civ Warping will work exactly as the vanilla game, and that's your way to go if you're not sure about it. So if you enter the Warrior Temple here, or any temple, it's gonna lead inside of the temple. Here in this example, it's Cat Potion Shop. You can also just save warp anywhere inside a dungeon, like the Morphos room, or maybe inside of Warrior Temple, and it should also lead you to the Cat Potion Shop. This is very interesting because it allows you to go to some place easier because it's kind of a shortcut. Any dungeon or boss room, it's exactly the same thing. Another on the like less known example is the Girdle Fortress. Girdle Fortress I also have a save warp like a dungeon. So here I enter the bottom Girdle Fortress and I save warp. It leads to the blue gel. Not that the blue gel is not the normal entrance, it's just what it is in BetaQuest for this example. This is, yeah, like I said, this is a shortcut and can be useful. Sunsong is like one of the most important tools of BetaQuest. It's gonna act like entering the loading zone where you come from. It's more fast than dying. Once you get the grenade, you can just spam it and it's good exploring. The only thing you have to know is that it doesn't work in every loading zone. If the time of day passes in this loading zone, it won't work. The other important thing is that it also works in boss room, and it does that because in the vanilla game, if you Sunsong in the boss room, it's gonna be like entering it. But if you save warp here, it doesn't work because it's only gonna test like entering the dungeon. So it's way faster doing this than entering every loading zone, every boss room. All that you need to do Yakuna item for it to work. You can use the Yakuna in the boss room. Alright, so I'm gonna try to explain one of the most interesting mechanics of BetaQuest, the grottos. There's three types of grottos. Actually, kind of fourth, but I'll explain later why. Uh, the three grottos are the unique grottos, there's the generic grottos, and there's the fairy fountain with the two salesmen and the three salesmen dig scrub. The unique grottos are can be found in like any loop. So if you explore, you might find like the DQ Theater or the Sacred Meadow, or yeah, just by exploring normally with entrance, leaving those gonna be something new. And it's important to understand one thing about those one is that entering them act as leaving them. So if let's say like leaving DQ Theater leave to Phantom Ganon, then later on you don't have to redo the whole chain to find where was Phantom Ganon. You can just enter the DQ Theater. So leaving and entering is I guess the same. Here are all the grottos: the Nuts Grotto, the Back in Time Grotto in Market, the DQ Theater in Lostwood, the HP Salesman in Ironfield, the Near Cac Grotto in Ironfield, the Underwater Octorok Grotto, the Red Dead Grotto in Akak, Sacred Meadow Grotto with the two wall posts, the Web Grottos, the Underwater HP Grotto in Ironfield, the Cow Grotto in DMT. The second type of grottos are the generic grottos. You're never gonna find a generic grotto by just exploring normally. Most of the time what's gonna happen is you're gonna enter one of them. And entering one of them hack really especially in BetaQuest because they're not as a normal entrance, in the normal shuffled entrance. By that I mean that they're not unique and they might send you to somewhere like that you already went to. But there's a cool thing to them is that they can also send you to someplace really weird. There's some like very weird loading entrance in OT that like the developer decided to have, and like one of those are like the forest middle cutscene. There's leaving some boss door. There's some weird entrance in like London Ranch, and every time of like there's even myself sometimes get surprised by where it sends me, and it's really cool. But you have to understand one thing, that is if you start exploring all of them, like it might not be good for your exploration because they break the logic of finding everything. So if you want to find the forest temple, your best goal is to do what's left to do for you. Like you want to explore every entrance that you're sure to be. Like the forest temple might not just be in those entrances. It's kind of complicated to understand, but just know that like it's kind of a gamble at the end if you want to do those. Fairy Fontaine act exactly like a generic grottos, but there's one exception to it, is that they can be found like in multiple areas. So like there's one in Sacred Meadow, there's one in Arfield. They both lead to the same entrance, but they act like a generic grotto by the sense that they're gonna send you to a random place. That type of grottos are the two salesman grotto or the three salesman. They act like a unique grotto in the sense that you can find them just by normally entrance because they're shuffled in the entrance pool. But you have to understand one thing about those one is that you can access them in multiple location while doing from like entering them. You like the three salesman grotto are accessible in the lake with the lake grave, or you can also access it by playing Son of Time, or there's also the one in Long Range. So all of them are going to lead to the same place. Another thing you can consider about those one is that you might not want to do them by entering them, because once you find them by like just doing entrance around, it's gonna be the same as entering it, and it's gonna break you. Like you're gonna start to redo stuff you already did. So my hint is to never try to entering a grotto, except if you want to go to some place, or you never find it on the other way. Alright, so I'm gonna go quickly come through some tools. Here's an example where I was talking about the two salesman grotto. Here I'm gonna enter one and leave one. Leaving is the same as entering it. So here's the Kukos, Talon House. It's the same as entering it. This would have worked with any 2 salesman grotto. Here's an example with the 3 salesman grotto. I'm entering it from London Ranch. One I'm entering from the Lake Lab, and one I'm just exiting it. It should all lead to the same place. So it's a good shortcut if like this was Forest Temple, way more like useful. One more thing about grottos is sometimes you're gonna find out this thing called Sky Temple. It's a place where there's 3 iron knuckle and you can't move. So you most of the time you just die there and there's no way like to escape. The way to beat that is either having like some more than 5 HP I think, or fairy or Narislav or double defense. There's a couple of ways to skip it, but what's important about it is that once you beat it, it's gonna give you access to the loading zone that was supposed to be there. So by example, to beat it, by the way, you just have to defeat the three Iron Knuckle and open the chest. Then you save warp, and you can, if you're not able to beat it, you have to save out of there. So yeah, like I was saying, to beat it, once you beat it, like you have access to the loading zone after this, and it's important to understand that if it's behind a unique grotto, so like the Deku Theater or the 2 salesmen HP or the 3 salesmen also work underwater HP. I'm gonna show you what are the unique grottos, but what I'm saying is it's locking one loading zone, and this loading zone could be ZL, this loading zone could be Forest Temple. It's locking something that was shuffled and was supposed to be accessible. With the exception that if it's behind a generic grotto, so if you find it by entering a generic grotto, then it won't be blocking anything that you need. If like say like it was blocking ZL like because like B didn't give you ZL, then it's pure luck. Like this loading zone was not on the shuffle entrance. And this is really important because when you're trying to do every goal on a blackout card and you're missing that one loading zone, like I don't know, the Lon HP, it might be because Sky Temple is blocking it. So if you're just normally exploring and you see Sky Temple, in your mind, you should also always consider there might be something useful behind it. I might have to come later on and take note of it. Like, that's the way you have to do it. Um, there's a goal also on the BetaQuest card that's it's beat Sky Temple, and so once you open the chest, you beat it, you can say warp. The only thing is finding them. Sometimes Sky Temple is in a random grotto. The only clue I can I can help you with that is that if you don't find it by normally exploring, it's probably in one of the generic grotto that you just never find like exiting it. They can also be in the 2 salesman or 3 salesman grotto. Know that entering any of them always lead to the Sky Temple. And they can be also be in the fairies fountain, but the fairy fountain doesn't work like the two salesmen or 3 salesmen, so you might have to try all the fairy fountain. And that's all for Scar Temple. It's very entertaining as a goal, and it can be also useful for like 5 Iron Knuckles. And this is me beating Sky Temple, an example. Here I can't move, now I can move. That's all you get out of moving it. Since I have double defense, I could survive this. Now I have to beat them. This is gonna be fun, but you can use Chew, you can like, there's a couple of ways to do it. You'll see that dying also gonna lead to the same place, and that's why the only way to get out there is say warping. Here you me trying again. Alright, so that's why you can move here, because once you get hit, you're able to move again. I'm gonna try to defeat it. It's pretty hard, but I'm gonna play it safe. I could use Chew here, or like, there's a couple of ways to destroy that. I think Naruslav really make it more easy, but yeah. Like in the lockout situation, it's always stressful. So take your time and have fun. Alright, so here's one down. Come on. That's one. 2 more. Like I said, like when I did this, like it's so spooky because one is you're dead. Here I get some HP so I don't die again. So here you go. I beat the temple. Now, to make it sure you beat it, you have to take the chest and save up out of there. And now the entrance, entering it's gonna be something new every time. Right, every time, one time technically. So here you go. You save all of there and you go back here. So another tool that you have access while playing BetaQuest are the warp song. Warp song are kind of interesting because they hack like a shortcut, but they have like one major flaw is while you're exploring and you find like let's say the Serenade warp pad. If you're dying there, you just tested like playing Serenade. So sometimes it might be like CAC or Kojiri Forest. Like, it might be some good location for shortcut, but the fact is you already tested. So for example, if you get Minuet after this is just a waste of time for you because you already tested dying at Minuet. So that like I totally understand some people saying the warp song are useless. It just know that sometimes they can save you a lot of time because if they make for a good shortcut. Another mechanic to added to the game are unique warp. Unique warp are one-way warp that can only be used once by file name. By example, there's the Colossus Silver Gauntlet, opening it. There's exiting the Zelda Lullaby cutscene. There's getting Requiem for the first time. All of those ones can only be obtained once, so the developer made it sure that they're not shuffled in the same entrance pool that the normal game, because it would be pretty bad if getting like the Silver Gauntlet lead you to Shadow Temple and that's the only time you can do it. So what they like, how they hacked in, it's pretty simple actually. They hack exactly like generic grottos, but you can only do it once. So there's some situation where like you're gonna open, like you're gonna save before the Silver Gauntlet chest, and you're gonna ask yourself, if is this something good? Maybe I want to reset. And the reason why is since there's like no other way to like go back there except by finding the real entrance. Sometimes some people like to save before them and check it. If it's something good, I just reset. Otherwise, I just keep going on. It's a pretty good, like, simple tool of exploration, but it's really useful. In this example, it's just the entrance of Colossus. Last thing I have to talk about is the fairy upgrade. So double magic, double meter, double defense, Dense Fire, Fire's Wind, and Narizlot. The fairies upgrade are randomized all over the normal entrance, and they all gonna be the magic upgrade when you first find them. So they still gonna hack like they were the thing you find, so like Dense Fire, Fire's Wind, Loading Zone and stuff, but they're not actually like gonna give you the item right away. So the first time you play ZL there, you're gonna get the magic upgrade, and leaving this this first time when you get the magic upgrade for the first time, it's gonna be like leaving the Dead Mountain area, Dead Mountain Trail, like the upgrade at the top of the Dead Mountain ring. This loading zone you won't be able to refine it like this first time when you get the upgrade. The only other way to find it will be like to find the exit from a generic grotto or something like that. But after this, you can grab like the Inspire, Narizot, everything else works normally, totally normal. So if you play Sunsong like in Denspire, that would be like entering Sunsong as a child. So that can be useful to know. The other thing I want to say about magic in general is that the Fairy's Wind doesn't reach out between age. So if there's one location that you can only reach by child, you might want to drop Fairy's Wind there so you can go back there as adult. Alright. I still have more tips to help you for exploration. Just the base exploration, like most of the time you always want to go back. So like say if you leave, you find like leaving Mido's house, you just want to enter it because it doesn't break the chain and you're sure like you're always going to find something new. There's some exception to it. By example, if you find the first outside collapse the tower, it's always going to be on the top. I highly recommend if you need sword to just straight die there. especially if it's not something super complicated to go back. Also, always take your first outside collapse and note so you know what it is and you can test it after dying there. But yeah, you always wanna like go forward there. So if there's Zelda, you follow Zelda, and if there's like you're on the bottom of one entrance, you wanna go back up. And the reason why is that way you never break the chain again and you're always good. It's the same thing with the bridge in Lostwood. The first time, if you find the Ocarina Fairy Ocarina, the cutscene will ultimately put you forward. So if you find the other side, which is not the Ocarina, you also want to go forward so you never break your chain. It's some minor stuff that at the end can be major. Uh, you don't have to follow the first collapse. You don't have to follow Zelda there because if you find the entrance and you're blocked to it, that means you need to save warp there. That's like my reminder. Hey, I need to save warp. Here's some important location. Talent minigame. Some there or play the minigame. Here's the Master Sword. The Master Sword is pretty interesting because it's a fast way to go adult. The only thing is also a loading zone, so if you need to play Sanson there or go back in time, I had some very nasty seed where I had to go back in time for finding Sanson and stuff like that. So you can also die there, but it takes some time. Note that I never recommend anyone to go adult without a bottle, at least a bottle. The CAC bottle is so free. So there's sometimes the first loading zone is this, and you want to go adult. I don't recommend it. Here's the windmill. The windmill is also interesting because you either have to play Song of Stone, which is art, or you could play Sun Song or die. And this is also a new loading zone. So if you can't die or can't play Sun Song, just take it in note and remember you have to do it later on. Um, yeah, it's really minor. Like if you skip something, like it's not necessarily bad. It just you have to remember how to go back there, and that's one problem I'll see like often. Like people, okay, I can't die there, so I'm not gonna die there. There's also like a ton of loading zones gonna be in front of the market. There's the all right. There's like entering dense fire before going adult. It's a lot of like remind task you have to do, and you like loading zone you have to test. Um, yeah, it's a lot of stuff like that. There's the best way is to explore, and if you're not sure like where you are or if you ever did it before, like it's fine. Like because a couple of like in front of the market and Arfield all look the same. I just recommend dying. Like if you're not sure if you did it or not, and you're sometimes you'll be surprised and it's gonna be something new. Another small thing is the Gerudo Guard in the Gerudo Valley and the Gerudo Fortress. I have two state to them. One is getting cut without the hook shot and one with the hook shot. You don't have to worry too much about them. They're not in the shuffle pool. People like to say, "Oh, what if getting caught without the hook shot was something good?" No, it's acting exactly like a generic grotto. You're gonna pick up more tip as like if you start playing the game and stuff like that. There's also like the note taking. I won't go too much in detail. I might like link the YouTube description. What is my way to explore with my note taking and stuff like that. But it's really to the player preference, and what I can give you a tip with that is just use what you're comfortable with. There's not really anything perfect. Some people will use tool in line, but I didn't really like them. But I know other people that actually write the loading zone with a paper and a sheet. So, and that's the end of the video. There's still so much I wanted to talk about, just like the tricks, more detail on the modes, and maybe like probably some stuff I forget. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope like you enjoy. At least you understand a little bit more how BetaQuest work. If you have any other question, you can ask me on Discord on that DavePat. I'm on the randomizer Discord, or you can otherwise leave me a comment on the YouTube video. English is not my first language, so I know this video is not perfect, but hopefully people enjoy it, and I'll see you around. Maybe play a bit of quest with you.